Yo, yo. Zoe Williams is in the building. Let me just jump right to it. I want to get this out the way very quickly. Please hit the like and share button. Welcome to Zolo Mansions. Zolo Mansions is an offshoot of my mansion show. I will be doing the mansion show again. It's just that COVID protocols prevent us from gathering in the way that you guys are used to seeing us gather. You know, a round table kind of environment where brothers are in here letting it go, you know, speaking the real. Zolo Mansions simply means that, Zo, solo. Oftentimes, I am the moderator, the mediator. I am the one setting up the conversation and running the conversation, playing quarterback or point guard, alley-ooping my guests so that they can speak. But I created this show so you can get a better insight into how I view things, into how I see things. And as is commonplace, before we get into the topic, I have to promote Black-owned businesses. I've been doing it since the inception of the ZoWhat Show, since July 12th, 2012. We've been promoting Black-owned businesses. Oftentimes, we would promote Black-owned businesses for free. And we got many businesses off the ground. Businesses like Power in One Clothing. Businesses like Ramomar. You know, they were with us in the very, very beginning. So now we have paid sponsorships. So people who say, hey, man, let's do a deal. Let's partner up. Or this is all the little money that I got. How many shows can you promote my brand on? So I'm going to promote those brands as well, starting with X Labs. This is a product created by a Black-owned business. This is a brother. His name is Travis. X-Wolf. I say X-Wolf is basically the Black-owned version of Nugenics. And it's a testosterone booster. You already understand and know. After a certain age, men start to lose testosterone. It has nothing but herbs in it. So I suggest you support this good brother at X Labs Supps. X Labs, SUPPS.com. Go there right now. Tell them Zoe Williams sent you. I use it personally, and it has been good for me. X-Wolf. Go support this brand right now. Also, Zoe Williams has gotten into the sea moss business. Last week, I think last Monday, we had our first sell. The sea moss business can be found at seamossbusiness.com. Call 1-800-298-8513. That's 1-800-298-8513. Sea Moss Business. Our partnership is with a group down in St. Lucia, and they are providing wholesale sea moss. In other words, pounds and pounds and pounds. If you want to start your own little sea moss business, you can actually call this number, tell them, hey, I heard about you guys on the ZoWhat Show, and you can order direct and start your own sea moss business. Of course, sea moss has like 92 minerals, trace minerals that the body needs, right? And it is very healthy and good for you. They say that there's sexual benefits to it. There's just an overall body feel to sea moss. You could put it in soups, smoothies. You could put it in all types of stuff. Your food, you bake bread with it, whatever. It's good for you, especially during the time of a pandemic. It's about building your immune system. It's about keeping yourself solid. seamossbusiness.com. Also, I want to promote this sister, Terry Lomax. She has a breakthrough branding workshop. Please go to yobrandingworkshop.com. That's yobrandingworkshop.com. She is offering a crap ton of resources for people who want to start a podcast, a radio show, a vlog. She's going to help you do this. She's going to bring in a trademark attorney, a graphic designer, and a millionaire mindset coach for Q&A. So you can get information on how to start your thing, how to get your thing popping, how to monetize your thing. All right? Total Package Energy. TotalPackageEnergy.com. They've got pea protein. They've got B12 shots with nanotechnology, 8 times more absorption than tablets. You rip open the packet, put it under your tongue, boom. B12 is for energy, right? But they also have vitamin C. We're living in a COVID time. Let's get our immune system up. Let's get our immune system strong so we can weather this COVID pandemic. It is also created with nanotechnology. This is advanced nanotechnology. This is pharmaceutical strength vitamin C. Go to TotalPackageEnergy.com. And then also, you know, Total Package Energy has their famous Total Package Energy shot in this new packaging. The Total Pack, that's the old packaging. That's the old packaging. Total Package Energy. That's all right. They have the Total Package Energy shot. Go there right now. Cashapp, not Cashapp, Cash Mob them. Support them, support them, support them, support them, support them, support them. Go there right now. Cash mob this black-owned business. Also, we have the HuriKane Report, right? Go to H-report.news. Now, currently, their website is being remodeled, updated. So, but still go there and support them. You know, they got cups, mugs, hoodies, leggings. This is a black-owned business. This is the Al Jazeera of black news, African-American news, ADOS news, FBA news, whatever you want to call it. They have news that is specific to us. And I get a lot of my topics and a lot of my stories from them as well. All right. Do I have anything else to promote? Soul Talks. Soul Talks. This is a black-owned water company. And it has 11 trace minerals in it. And it's hella good for you. It tastes like green tea, but it's a super antioxidant, immune boost, 11 amino acids, joint and muscle recovery, black-owned business, Soul Talks. You can find them on Amazon.com. They will ship to you. Let's get it. Let's get it. Let's get it. Now, let me just say this real quick. Oh, yeah. Let's not. I don't know if that sale is still on. But yeah, you can put that up too. Let's go. The Goddess Journal, right? By Joy Alanis. Dysfunction is available right now on Kindle, on Amazon, paperback. She also has a journal that comes with it. And I'm going to be honest with you. This book right here is trending right now on Amazon.com as the #1 bestseller. It's trending right now. So go to www.dysfunctionbook.com. Support. Also, of course, my book, yeah, oftentimes I forget. It's all right. The holographic relationship is popping. You can go there right now to my website, IamZoWilliams.com, and click books and order the paperback version directly from my website, IamZoWilliams.com. You can also get the Kindle version of this book on Amazon.com. You can also get it on your iPhone. If you got an iPhone, you can go to iBooks and purchase it. Then the relationship dismount. This is the follow-up to the relationship dismount, by the way. Well, where's the relationship dismount? Come on, honey. Let's move. Okay, the relationship dismount is my 2015 book release. How to Stick the Landing When Exiting a Toxic Relationship. This book is available in 3 formats exclusively on Amazon.com. Exclusively on Amazon.com. Paperback, Kindle, as well as Audible. The Relationship Dismount. How to Stick the Landing When Exiting a Toxic Relationship. 2020 was a tough year. You all know that. 2020 is starting off crazy too. I have just finished writing the follow-up book to the holographic relationship, which is The Shrouded Lighthouse. It is at my editors right now, being edited. Soon, I will have a pre-order link for you to purchase The Shrouded Lighthouse. But The Shrouded Lighthouse is one piece to a bigger project that I'm working on. I'm currently working on a documentary, also called The Shrouded Lighthouse, and I'm also working on a soundtrack to go with The Shrouded Lighthouse. A manager friend of mine is working on getting us a full-fledged record deal for the Shrouded Lighthouse soundtrack. David Banner has submitted records. I got some other people that I don't want to talk about, but we're putting together a full-fledged album. By next week, I'm going to have the updated sizzle reel for the Shrouded Lighthouse documentary. The documentary is crazy. We're going to talk about that too. So now let's get into why I'm here. A lot of people need to know who I am. You dig? I'm not finna blame nobody. I'm not finna shade nobody. I'm not finna side swipe nobody. Hit the like button, hit the share button. Let's hit the like button, let's participate. I'm not finna do none of that. Part of the misconception of who I really am is my fault. Why? Because of how I was educated on how to do radio. It ain't my job to outshine or to upstage the host of another show. It ain't my job to do that. As a person who is on another person's show, this is radio game. Your job is to make your host look good. That's your job. Robin Quivers knows how to make Howard Stern look good. She sets him up for jokes, and she tries to make him look good. She brings clarity to his statements. That's the role of a person in that position. If you're the host of a show, you're like a point guard. You're setting other people up so they can speak. You get them into their wheelhouse of information. Why? Because it's your show. You can talk at any point. You can save a point that you had for a show for another show. Why? Because you're always going to be back. Your cast may not be back. So if you're a good host, you're a good listener, right? If you're a good radio personality, you're a good listener. You allow your guests to say what they need to say. You help them get into their wheelhouse of information. That's how I was trained to do radio by the great Guy Black. Your job is to accentuate if you're in the two-guard position, if you're in the small forward position. When you look at radio, it's broken down host, and the host can play any role. The host can play voice of reason. The host can play good guy, bad guy, devil's advocate. The host can do all of that. But other people have different roles too. We call Jeff the intellectual irritant because that's a role in radio. Somebody who is there to fucking agitate. That's a role, right? If the host doesn't want to play the voice of reason, he can designate somebody to be the voice of reason. Then there's another role where it could just be information person. So if you just recklessly talking about a subject that you might not be, as the host, skilled in or knowledgeable of, You can throw it to your information person, and then they can fill in the gaps with the actual information. This is how radio is constructed. This is how I was taught to do radio. So I take full responsibility for laying back when certain things are presented about me that's not really who the fuck I am. All right? Let's start there. You want to know who Zoe Williams is? I'll tell you who Zoe Williams is. I was born in 71. I'm 49. I was born in Chattanooga, Tennessee, to a mother who was 27 years old, and I was child number 6. After me, she had a nervous breakdown because of my father. My father had another woman living in the projects behind us, watching her crib to make sure no niggas was coming in and out of there. We lived in Alton Park Projects. The Alton Park Projects has since been torn down and rebuilt. A lot of people moved into the area of Alton Park that came from New Orleans after Katrina. When I went back to Alton Park, the old energy and the spirit of that place was still there, even though there was new buildings erected. But I was able to go back there before they built the new buildings and sit on the porch of my old project. When I was born, my mother had a nervous breakdown and lost all of her children to the foster care system. My 2 oldest brothers went to jail because they was too old to be in foster care. My second oldest brother, Maurice, used to watch our sister Cassandra through the bars of the jail he was in, playing in the yard at her foster home. My second oldest sister went to live with her grandfather or her grandmother on her father's side. I was the last one to go to foster care. My brother, who was 10 months older than me, went to the Bynums, James and Mary Bynum. They lived in Chattanooga. They had, or my foster father, whom I respected a lot, had an upholstery company. Mary Bynum and James Bynum fell in love with me and my brother. My brother went before me. He was a toddler. He's only 10 months older than me, could barely speak, but was able to articulate to them, "Where is my brother? Where is my brother?" They said, "Son, you don't have a brother." "Yes, I do. Where is my brother?" Now, mind you, he's a baby asking for me. They finally listened to him. You understand? And went back to the home or wherever I was kept, and I was in a basket next to the stove. I was a baby. They took me in. Me and my brother stayed with them until I was 5 years old. He was 6 years old. We were the fucking Fresh Prince in reverse, because when we lived with them, we lived in a house. We got haircuts every week. We went to fucking church every week. After church every week, we went to Baskin Robbins. I used to get the little, what's that little ice cream, the green ice cream with the mint in it, with the mint chocolate chips in it. Is that what it is? Mint chocolate chips. I used to get that shit every Sunday after church. the little sandwich. You know the dig? Christmas time, we used to pick our toys. I want the log. You remember them logs you built the little log cabin with? I want the logs. Get me the logs. And we thought those were our parents. Until one day, my foster mother ran into my real mother and saw the grief in her face and said, well, damn. Out of the years and years and years of being a foster parent, these are the only 2 kids I wanted to keep. Because she couldn't have children. Mary couldn't have children. These are the only 2 children I want to keep. But she knew she had to give up the kids when she ran into my mother. She helped my mother get us back. When we went back to the Alton Park projects. When I tell you thousands of roaches inside the house. When I tell you rats, mice, hundreds of mice inside the house. You understand? My father was abusive. My father tried to rape my oldest sister when she was 6. My father abused my siblings, my older siblings, stuffing them in the closet with motherfucking rats and roaches. My siblings have a resentment towards my mother's siblings because they had moved from Chattanooga to California. And they felt like they could have did more for my mother, who had a nervous breakdown and was on medication for the rest of her life. Needless to say, when we got to Alton Park got to us. We had to change. Little light-skinned, green-eyed kid. My brother's, the one that's 10 months older than me, he got amber color eyes, beautiful little motherfuckers running around the projects, look like meat. So my second oldest brother, Maurice, who looks like Karl Malone, never lifted a motherfucking weight in his life. He was 16. He was the goddamn man of the house because his father was hooked on heroin and left my mother. So Maurice became daddy and big brother to all of us. Maurice said, yo, bro, y'all niggas got to fight now. Y'all got to learn how to fight. We went through a type of boot camp. Niggas learned how to travel the fucking projects through the sewers and on rooftop. You understand? This is my life here right now. In 79, I don't know how she did it. She got us the fuck up out of the projects. We finally moved to Altadena, 665 West Altadena Drive in Altadena, California, Southern California. When we got there, we all 6 of us, and of course, my oldest sister had a baby by then. We all 6 of us moved into a goddamn apartment with my oldest brother, Anthony. Apartment number 23. Side note, we set that apartment on fire on purpose. Well, anyway, we lived there for a while. Then we moved to Pasadena. I'm giving you a little bit of insight into who I am because you may misconstrue what type of man I am. I came from an abusive environment. You understand? I came from a broken home. I came from a toxic environment. My mother couldn't do shit with us at 6 and 7. Couldn't do nothing with us. All she did was pray. That's all she could do. By the time I was in the 2nd grade, I was fucking ditching school. They finally took me to the motherfucking schoolhouse and opened up my little cubby hole. And all my lunches was in that goddamn cubby hole with maggots in it. Because that's how much I was ditching school. That's me in the 3rd grade in Southern California. 8 years old. Southern California. My uncle, who recently passed last year, Sam Walker, was an English teacher at that school. He was my English teacher. I'm going to fast forward a little bit. I get to elementary a little bit. Because I got kicked out of the school that my uncle was at. My brother, 10 months older than me, he stayed at that school until he graduated from high school because it was an alternative school. It was one of those weirdo schools where motherfuckers could call the teachers by their first name. It was called Audubon on Altadena Drive. But me, I got into fight after fight after fight after fight. I got kicked out of that school. And then I went to Washington Elementary. I got kicked out of Washington Elementary. You understand? I got kicked out of Washington Elementary, went to Field Elementary, and got into several fights every day. You understand? By the time I was in junior high school, I was still dealing with anger. I had a wonderful 7th grade. I had a great 7th grade teacher, English teacher. Used to be a Denver Bronco by the name of Michael Harrison. This is the motherfucker who taught me how to snap and joke and bag on niggas. He allowed us to bag in class. But for some reason, in the 8th grade, something in my mind snapped. I don't know what it was. Maybe it was a change of schedule. This shit all came back to me recently because I have my son with me and we were in the area of my junior high school. And I took my son to go work out and I walked down the street to my junior high school and broke down in tears because of what I did at that school. I was the first kid in junior high to get sent to a high school truancy, a truancy high school because of what I did in the 8th grade on the first day of school. I was used to being at 6th grade gym. And 2nd semester, the shit turned into, in the 8th grade, the shit turned into 1st period gym. And I don't know, it set me off. I don't know what happened. I blacked out. And the first person I saw, which was this white kid, I grabbed him by his neck and choked his ass out until snot started coming out of his nose. I let him go. He fell and hit his head on the linoleum. They called the police. I was sitting in the motherfucking principal's office. This girl walked by, this big ass girl. She was big as shit. It was the 8th grade. She was still like fucking 6'3", 250. She was a big girl and she was talking shit. And I got up, socked her in the face, broke her nose. Fortunately for me, the kid's parents didn't press charges. Because I could have went to juvenile hall right then. But I didn't go. But they said you can't come back to this school. So in the 8th grade, I went to motherfucking Foothill High. Foothill High School. I was the only 8th grader in that bitch. Foothill High School. It's a truancy high school, and I was there. Then I went to motherfucking Pasadena High, where I had an opportunity because I could ball. I could hoop. I was really, really good at it. But my grades weren't good enough. So I missed out on the opportunity of playing ball. I went to Pasadena High School. I made it through that motherfucker. Then I went to Pasadena City College. Then I got into motherfucking music industry early. At the end of the day, I was still dealing with a lot of motherfucking anger. Angry motherfucker. Because that's how I was raised, to fight. So if I'm raised to fight, I'm looking for fights. I'm looking for motherfucking discord. I'm looking for that. I want that. I want to express myself through violence. All my friends who grew up with me understand who I am. One of my best friends, he just had a birthday, January 12th, just turned 50. Shout out to my homeboy Truth. Y'all know, I call him Poet. He and I got into a fight in the 8th grade. I was whooping his ass and picked up a brick, about to smash him in the face until his mother drove by. But he's still one of my peoples today. My homeboy True Blue. Right? My homeboy True Blue from Pasadena. Madcap had an album party. If y'all remember the 90s group Madcap, they were the first artists to be signed to Loud Records. They had a joint called The Whole Kit and Caboodle. I was on that album rapping under the name L-Dub. Stand for last word. I'm not trying to come across as a gang. I was never in a gang. I'm not a gang member. I'm not trying to come across as no Billy Badass or none of that shit. I'm saying I came from a broken situation and had to grow up out of brokenness. And I'm trying to give you an example of my path that led me out of brokenness. Me and the homeboy True Blue were upset because y'all know the homie. His name is Coke Daniels. Coke Daniels is a movie director. He's doing a movie right now that's about to come out called Karen. Coke is very talented. Coke was the leader of the group called Madcap. We had a crew in Pasadena that was 30, 40 niggas deep. And some of the niggas in that crew were gang members. But I wasn't a gang member. We had a meeting with Steve Rifkin at Loud Records for this whole big-ass crew of niggas. And we had multiple groups. True Blue felt like Coke went behind everybody's back because he set up a side meeting with Loud that got him the record deal, that got his group the record deal, instead of all of us as a collective a record deal. True Blue was upset. I was upset. But I also said, so fucking what? Let's all just get together behind Madcap and help these motherfuckers do what they need to do. True Blue wouldn't let it go. Me and True Blue got into a fight. I whooped True Blue's ass. True Blue was 100 pounds heavier than me. I beat True Blue's ass for 30 minutes. Then I went inside because I got tired and sat down and watched TV. The homeboy James Broadway, you hear me talk about James Broadway all the motherfucking time. James Broadway and another West Coast rapper by the name of Casper. He had a record and an album out on Capitol in the 90s called Adrenaline. Broadway produced it. Broadway and Casper hyped True Blue up. You gonna let little ass Zoe beat your ass, nigga? You a bitch ass nigga. You let little ass Zoe whoop on you, nigga? So True Blue snuck up behind me and sucker punched me. So I got up and went inside of Broadway's bedroom under the bed and got the AK. Needless to say, everybody in the house grabbed me. Nah, nigga, just go back out there and fight this nigga. But the reality of it was I was tired as fuck. And I wasn't going to keep fighting True Blue, but I felt like he did me dirty by sucker punching me because I whooped his ass fair and square. So what I did was I walked out the motherfucking house and said, yeah, nigga, let's go at it again. And I saw 2 bricks and I picked up the 2 bricks. One was made of granite. One was porous. I picked up the 2 bricks and turned around and hurled the motherfuckers right at True Blue. The one that really could have cracked his skull missed him. The second one didn't. But it did split his head open and they had to rush his ass to the motherfucking hospital. Me and True Blue weren't cool for many years after that. Years later, I'm an A&R person at Loud Records. Steve Rifkin gets me out of Loud Records because I blew up on him. I blew up on Steve Rifkin because Steve Rifkin had the unmitigated gall to call me a nigga. But he didn't call me a nigga in my presence. He waited to call me a nigga when I was gone to lunch. He was mad because Madcap's second album was about to come out and Coke Daniels called me and asked me, when is our album going to be released? And I told him, in March. Steve Rifkin says, hey, nigga. Well, he didn't say, hey, nigga, to me. But Steve Rifkin, in the meeting, I'll get to that. Basically, I went to lunch. I come back to the office, everybody looking sideways. There's a message on my desk that says, Steve Rifkin wants to talk to you. But out of everybody in that motherfucking office, there was only one sister. I think her name was either Tasha or Mona Lisa. Mona Lisa is a legendary DJ out here in LA. One of them came to me and said, yo, Steve Rifkin just called you a nigga. I said, oh, really? This is 22, 23-year-old Zoe. Oh, really? Okay. So I go to the motherfucker office. His assistant, Lisa Duvernay, is right there. This is before she's Lisa Duvernay, married to the homeboy Fade Duvernay. I kicked the motherfucking door in to Steve Rifkin's office. And I told him, I will drag your bitch ass out here in front of all these niggas who scared to talk about it. Nigga, you think you can call me a nigga? I will beat your ass for the $200 every 2 weeks that you paying me, nigga. Steve Rifkin was scared. And from that point, Steve Rifkin got with my homeboy from Grape Street. His name is Black. Black is a Crip. And that's how Black got into the game, really. He became the unspoken muscle at the office at Loud Records. You understand? And Rifkin was working his ass off to get me the fuck out of there. So he hooked me up with Freddie DeMann at Maverick Records. I had a 20-minute meeting with Freddie DeMann. I came out of that meeting as the senior VP of Black Music A&R. Rifkin didn't give a fuck. He was just happy to get me out of that office because he knew I can't pull fuck shit with Zoe. my toxic way of handling things, my preferred conflict resolution skill has always been anger, aggression, and violence. And I'm not afraid to say that that shit has spilled over into my interpersonal relationship with women. I had no father. I had no healthy relationships when I grew up. The only way you get to see this version of Zo today is Zo had to be man enough to look inside and own his fuck shit. I had to realize I'm the common denominator. I'm the problem. I run people off. I hurt people, hurt people, hurt people. I had to come to that realization. How I came to that realization, or the beginning process of coming to that realization, is having children. My son, my oldest son, who just graduated from Fresno State with a degree in philosophy. Three years after him, my daughter, my only daughter, who's at LMU studying theater. 2 years after her, my youngest son, Naeem. And I had beef with both their mothers. Beautiful chocolate sisters that produced beautiful chocolate babies. My relationship with my youngest son's mother is still not cool. We don't talk. But me and my youngest son do. I was just with him. He was with my oldest son's daughter, his niece, my granddaughter. You understand? My relationship with my daughter is what exposed the toxicity that I had towards women. I can't treat my daughter the way I treated her mother. I didn't treat her mother well. I cheated on her mother. I had my youngest son outside of that relationship, outside of another relationship. I didn't treat her well. I was a liar. I didn't tell the truth. I was a user and a manipulator. But as my daughter began to grow up, she started to behave like my own personal shaman. She started to reflect back to me, what the fuck is wrong with me? And I had to be a man about it and take responsibility. I couldn't blame nobody else for why my relationship with wonderful women kept getting preempted and fucked up. It was the great Frederick Douglass who said, it is easier to build strong children than it is to repair broken men. I was a broken man who was being repaired by my relationship with my children. My oldest son started to show an aptitude for basketball, so I poured myself into him. After I broke up with another relationship with a woman that I believed to be my soulmate, but I was still lying. And when you lie to a woman, regardless of what she agrees to, her spirit is always advising, no, something ain't right. To the point where we got into it. And once our relationship broke down, that's when I wrote the motherfucking relationship Dismount. And I poured myself into my son's basketball. Motherfucker fucked around and got 20, 30, 40 goddamn scholarships. He was that good. He is that good. Chose Auburn. Then transferred to Fresno State. Now he's in the G League. I say all of that to say, my children led me to my healing. It is possible for broken men to become whole if they bend the knee to the mirrors that show up in their life. Every relationship you're in is a fucking mirror reflecting what you haven't worked on. Children are your best mirrors. They show up. They call you on your bullshit. But you got to be willing to be in their life. You got to be a willing participant. Part of the reason why my relationship failed in 2005 to 2011, I was with the girl for 6.5 years. Part of the reason why that relationship failed is because I was lying. And I was lying because I told myself, I made the excuse, you can't be the kind of daddy your daddy was. He wasn't there. And I was too afraid to say, hey, I'm still over here dealing with this, and I want to integrate you into it. I was lying. And her intuition picked up on it, and she couldn't tolerate it, and she was way younger than me, so she hadn't grown up enough to be able to talk to me and work with me, and I was still young and stupid too. So the shit crashed and burned. But for a good purpose, because when it crashed and burned, I took fucking responsibility for the crash and the burn. It wasn't on her, it was on me. I was the elder statesman in that relationship. I had to take fucking responsibility. And that responsibility led me down the path that says, whatever is a weakness in me that is reflected to me by my children, I will teach them about that seed in them. My son got the anger shit too. He saw me be angry towards his mother. So he got it. Do you understand? The fruit don't fall that far from the tree. My son being a basketball player taught me about teamwork, friendship. My thoughts on friendships is this: a friendship is a team. If we wearing the same motherfucking jersey and we got multiple teammates on our team, how in the fuck can I choose a side? Black men in America, whether you know it or not, you wearing the same jersey, nigga. How do we choose the same side? It's that thought process that keeps motherfucking gangs alive. There's another side. There's a villain over there. There's a nigga that you can't trust. See, black men are very quick to call out the toxicity in black women that they've inherited from this society, but niggas don't want to talk about the toxicity in black men. The paranoia, more money, more problems. The hierarchy, the fear. Motherfucking Richard Pryor was scared of Eddie Murphy because he saw him as the young lion on the way up that could take his motherfucking spot. You understand? Tell me that's not happening in the hood every day. We don't know how to be on the same team. We don't know how to respect each other. Why? Because we think somebody gonna try to take something from us. We don't know how to appreciate each other. We don't know how to honor each other. That's why we objectify women. That's why we objectify each other. I only keep you around because you smart. That's an objectification. Can men lead without embracing their own shadow selves? Can you be a leader in the community, amongst your family, amongst your friends, amongst the neighborhood? Can you be a leader if you haven't embraced your shadow self, where all the trauma is, where all the fear is, where all the insecurities are? Can you lead? Because you're not leading if fear is advising. You're not leading if ego is advising. It was my children who taught me that relationship is a mirror. It was my children who taught me that partnership is delegation. I used to have my fucking kid, my oldest son, with me on the basketball court when I was still hooping. And I got into several fights on the basketball court. Every time I got into a fight, I told y'all this before, I would bring my son and I would ask him, did I handle that right? Nah, Dad, you lost your cool. You could have did that differently, Dad. I said, what should I do? My son is 13 years old. I said, what should I do, man? He said, apologize to everybody. I went and apologized to everybody. And everybody embraced my son and talked to him. Hey, man, people lose their cool. Hey, man, people get upset sometimes. Hey, man, people go through bullshit sometimes. But you know what? Part of manhood, they talking to him. Part of manhood, brother, is to be able to own your shit when you're wrong. Own it. It belongs to you. My new book talks about it. Claim over blame. We have a blame-shifting society. Everything is mindset. Do you have a victimhood mindset? Do you have a winner mindset? And I'm not talking about false confidence that is buttressed by motherfucking accumulated things. If your confidence is connected to the shit you got, what happens when it's gone? What happens when you lose it? If you are defined by what you have accumulated, what happens when you lose what you've accumulated? Your confidence is gone? Confidence is internal. It's not something that needs a fucking PR person. Either you have it or you don't. Confidence is not about beating your chest. Confidence is not about expressing that you're confident. Confidence is what the fuck it is. We can't build a community because we've been taught to be suspicious and uber cautious of everybody. Yes, there's some motherfuckers out there you should be cautious of. But you gotta know you damaged as fuck if you cannot see when somebody doesn't pose a threat to you. How many motherfuckers who have actually been on your team you've disrespected, you've marginalized, because your insecurity said they might be better than me at something. They might be doper than me at something. Huh? For many men, fear does the vetting for friendship when they haven't healed past trauma. Let me say it again. For many men, fear does the vetting when they have not healed past trauma. How do I know I can trust him? How do I know he down? A healthy man is not intimidated by another healthy man, or a toxic man for that matter. A healthy man can be vulnerable around other healthy men and ask for motherfucking help. A healthy man is not afraid to treat people equally and respectfully. A healthy man is not afraid to listen without judgment. A healthy man values women. What is healthy if it ain't balance? And what is a man without a woman? It's balance, family. So, if there's resentment in you because your mother wasn't what you thought she should be, because your trauma defines you, then how the fuck are you going to appreciate anybody else? Because if your trauma is defining you, then that means you haven't found a way to appreciate you in totality. You, yourself. That's what an insecurity is. It's something that has not been embraced. It's something that has not been put into context. This is something that I picked up from my past, but it's not what makes me. That's how you overcome trauma. You embrace it. If you haven't done that, fear is going to be vetting shit out, vetting friends out. Wherever there's fear, there is the question of loyalty. I don't know if you heard what I said. Wherever there's fear, there is a question of trust and loyalty. It becomes a fucking priority because you're scared to lose something. You scared somebody gonna take something. You scared somebody scheming. You scared somebody lying. You scared some of that shit is being attracted to you because you haven't resolved it. Biggie said it, more money, more problems. Right? Can success breed paranoia? Yes, the fuck it can. Especially if you're always looking. You're looking for shit. Oh, somebody might take this from me. In the book written by Dr. David R. Hawkins, Transcendence, he talks about slight collectors. Niggas, people who are looking for slights. Did this nigga slight me? Did this nigga talk slick to me? Did this what this nigga say? Slight collectors, collecting slights, because that's what you're looking for. The Bible says it, as a man thinketh, so is he. Buddha says it, right? All this world is made of mind, right? Robert Anton Wilson said it. Whatever the thinker thinks, the prover will prove. Do you understand? If you want to be a man, listen to me. Listen. If you want to be a real man, you have to become a conqueror of self, a conqueror of your trauma, a conqueror of your hurt. If you are a work in progress, that means the foundation you stand on is mutable. Some people think standing on shit is the end all, begin all. This is your perception. But truth is subjective. The ultimate truth is not. And most people are not conscious enough to say they got the ultimate truth. What they have is a perspective. And many times your perspective is built on unhealed trauma. As a man, does standing on a principle or standard make you solid or inflexible? And when do you know you're becoming inflexible? See, a real leader has to have flexibility. A real leader has to know this is the limit of my capability, and to be an effective leader, I must delegate without fear. See, you can't really delegate if you're scared, if you're worried about loyalty. See, Tony Robbins already told you, the people around you are a reflection of you. And if you scared, right? If you scared, then you must have people around you that are fearful too, in some aspect. As a man, does standing on a principle or standard make you solid or inflexible? Bruce Lee said, be water, my friend. You pour water into a cup, it becomes the cup. You pour water into a vase, it becomes the vase. Do you understand? Flexibility is key to growth. If you're the same person you are today that you were 4 years ago, what makes you a great leader? What makes you somebody worthy to be listened to? I'm going to ask you again, what is the face of manhood that's been raised by a single mother with limited resources? Typically, it's the face of a man who aggrandizes his masculinity, who aggrandizes his machismo, who is fearful of telling the truth about who the fuck he really is. That is the face of most boys in America who have been raised by single mothers. That means that's damn near 70% of the men you meet. Black men across the world, hear my fucking voice. We are on the same team. I bring people to this platform because I feel like they're on the same team, because some of the messaging says they're on the same team. And if we're on the same team, why should I have to choose? If they got a beef, handle your beef off the air. Because the world is watching. You got the nerve to motherfucking get on sisters for getting on air and saying, or getting in their car and posting messages on their Instagram saying, if he broke, I can't fuck with him. You know, this old ratchet bitch, blah, 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 blah. But brothers, if you're not doing this work to make sure that other brothers know that we wearing the same jersey, then who are you to talk to them? They lost because you lost. They broken because you broken. They're passive-aggressive prostitutes because you're a passive-aggressive John. If I accumulate, if I get things, if I get bread, if I get money, then I have control over her. Sarah, play that video. The Tone Talks video. Play it. Then play the other one until you can get that one.
You're a really good example of this. How many people have heard the term hyper-masculinity?
Tired of this whole shit.
How many people have heard this term apply to black men constantly? All right. The term hyper-masculinity is actually a social science term that originated around the 1960s and was used as late as I could tell until 1988 to describe black men. Here's the crazy thing about it. It's not a term that actually talks about black men being more masculine. It's about them being more feminine. The argument was, if black men didn't have male role models in their homes, right, because remember all black men abandoned their children back then. This is the Monahan type stuff. Women were the heads of household. If you had a son, the son imitates the head of household. So when a black son imitates a mother, he takes on female characteristics. They call it a female personality disorder. The effect of the female personality disorder is that the black man becomes more deviant. He likes female things, but his masculine body can't do that, can't perform that in the world. So he actually then starts to reject everything feminine. And by rejecting everything feminine, that's how he becomes hypermasculine. This is how this stuff developed. But how many of us knew that history? So what we do is this is what I'm saying. So we constantly deploy terms, especially on black male bodies, right? Because this is the history of how gender is formulated. In a patriarchal ethno-nationalist society, they're interested in the male subject. Because the male subject could have sex with the female subject and you mess up all your pretty Anglo-Saxonism. So everything is about policing that, right? Women are exploited for labor, for bodies, for generating middle classes. So when you look at Jamaica, you rape black women, what do? You create a middle class of people, mulattoes, that could do your dirty work and govern over the rest. See, our bodies are exploited in different ways. Our sex makes us vulnerable in different ways. But we know none of this, so then we come in and we start talking about the ideas of patriarchy. Black men were literally excluded from the patriarchal class in this country until the 70s. There is not a record in 100 years of anyone referring to black men as patriarchs, because the idea was that they were lesser men and feminine. This is what they said in 19th century ethnology. This is what they said in the 20th century. This is what they said in the 1980s.
My brothers, you can't say you're a good man if you got kids and you're not a good father. You can't say you're a good man if you don't allow your children to teach you something about you. The only way they can teach you something about you is if you participate with them. Jay-Z said the same thing in the 444 album. I don't give a fuck how much money you got. You're not worth more than a man who has poured into the spirit of his children all that is meaningful and purposeful. My son and daughter just got their Ishefa, their hand of Ifa. And the Babalao was sitting there talking to them or talking to my son. They were having a discussion. And usually in this discussion, I'm the one talking. But they were talking about relationships and the toxicity in relationships. And my son began to talk. And as my son began to talk, they all looked at me smiling because he was dropping bombs. They say, oh, go ahead and gloat. Yes, that's your son. The fruit don't fall far from the tree. That don't mean he perfect. That don't mean he got a grasp of every fucking understanding. No, but I've set him on the path. I've set him on the path of accountability. I've set him on the path of respectability. Son, don't duplicate what you saw me do to your mama. Don't do that. Son, when you saw me communicating to your mother as a child, I was an infant in my communication. Don't mimic that. It's in you and it's going to want to express itself, but you see it coming. Read this book. Read this book. Do you understand? My daughter can pull me and say, Dad, that ain't the way to do it. Dad, that ain't the way to do it. Okay, what did I miss? Where am I off? You can't disrespect like that. You can't disrespect like that, Dad. That's disrespectful. Watch how you say this, Dad. You think they're your children and you own them. You think your word is bond. But no, as they grow up, you think they don't see your fuckery? You think they don't see your bullshit? Yes, they do. And guess what? This is where you get a fracture. Toxic parenting. Right? This is where you get a fracture in the relationship. This is where holding a parent in contempt comes in. My father or my mother isn't good for my soul, isn't good for my spirit. I've got to love them from afar. You love your parents from afar because they don't want to own the toxicity that they planted in the child. So once the child starts to see this toxicity within themselves and say, do you know most therapists have been through some motherfucking trauma? And that is the impetus for why they become therapists, because they want to heal themselves. Most therapists have to do motherfucking 5,000 hours of therapy. My greatest success is my ability to be an amazing father. My greatest satisfaction is my ability to be a mentor to my children. I was once the authority in their lives. And then I had to transition out of being an authoritarian and become a mentor. My son went to Auburn. Bruce Pearl recognized immediately. He's the strongest leader we got on this team. He sent him to the SEC to represent Auburn in a leadership conference. When my son transferred to Fresno State, they recognized his leadership skills. They recognize that. Oftentimes, when you have a young leader, it intimidates white authority. Bruce Pearl told my son and me, he said, Zo, your son is the strongest leader we have on this team. However, I am fearful that he will lead the team in a different direction than I want to go. And I said, Bruce, does he drink? No. Bruce, does he smoke? No. Do you have people on your team that drink and smoke and that has gotten in trouble? Yes. I said, if anything, he gonna lead them away from that. But what he was saying was a bit bigger. He was basically saying, your son has more influence than I do. Where does that come from? It comes from his fucking father. You could be wealthy all day in America, but you're really poor if you don't put that in your child. You could have all the flyest cars, you could have the deepest bank account, but if you ain't got that with your kids, you're spiritually impoverished. And that is the worst type of poverty, to be spiritually poor, to be philosophically poor. to be psychologically poor. Do you understand? This world is about more than materialism. This world is about more than acquisition. This world is about more than power. Let's talk about contradictions. If everybody is a work in progress, then everybody must be prone to contradictions. If you get married and you cheat on your wife, that's a contradiction to the oath you took in front of God. That's a contradiction to the oath you took in front of God. And I'm not dinging or blaming anybody for cheating, because I have been a cheater most of my motherfucking relationship life. The point I'm trying to make is it's human to be contradictory. What does that mean, Zo? I'm not talking about contradictory for contradiction's sake. I'm talking about contradictory for change. If you are a work in progress, if you're constantly growing, if you're constantly evolving as a person, what you agreed to 2 years ago might be different today. Now, here is where the man in you shows up. Can you sit down with the person you talking to? I had to go through it. I had to go to hell, fight the devil, which is in me, and come out with this understanding. See, if you can sit down with the person and say, I'm different, what I agreed to before no longer stands. Who I was when I agreed to this is not who I am today. So that agreement no longer applies to you. You can't raise a good son or daughter if you haven't conquered your demons. You can't raise good kids if you haven't conquered your demons. If your demons live rent-free in your spirit and help you make decisions, you're going to be a train wreck for anybody that you come in contact with. You're going to be a train wreck for anybody that you come in contact with. I'm not perfect, never have been. I take responsibility for all the fuck shit that I've done. One of the greatest fuck shits or fuck shit circumstances that I have participated in was the Aries Spears debacle. What you don't know about me is every time I lose my temper, I see it as a spiritual demotion. I have taught my son this. Every time I see or lose my temper, I see it as a spiritual demotion. I see it as a setback. And for a long time, I felt exceedingly bad about the Aries Spears situation. But the reality of it is, I didn't know the brother. The reality of it is, I talked to the brother off air. And off air, the brother was cool. He would listen when we were off air. I said, hey, man, please listen. Hey, brother, please listen to what Corey is saying. Follow his direction. But then once he got back on the air, he jumped back onto the crazy shit. I don't know him. I'm not a comedian, although I play one on TV. I crack jokes and I act silly, but not with people I don't know. The reason why me and Freeze didn't fight is because Freeze and I have over 25 years of friendship. when Freeze got divorced, I don't want to put too much of his business out there, but when Freeze got divorced, I love you, Freeze, and I don't mean no disrespect by this, but when he got divorced from his first wife, Freeze came to my house and slept on my floor because Freeze is my brother. And I love Freeze. And what y'all don't know is when we stepped outside of that motherfucking studio and we put our dukes up, Freeze said, man, I don't want to fight you. I said, I don't want to fight you either, dog. I love you. I love you too, brother. And what do? We hugged and went the fuck back in there. Freeze is one of my best friends. Whenever I see Freeze, it is nothing but love. It is nothing but appreciation. It is nothing but approval. It is nothing but support. But I'm going to tell you this. I ain't won every fight I was in, but I won a lot of them. You know why? Because niggas underestimated who they thought I was. I'm not one to be underestimated. I'm not one to be marginalized. I'm not one to be disrespected. I love my brothers. I do. I swear to God, I love my brothers. And I love my sisters. Sisters, I know I haven't been the best to you. I know I haven't been the most appreciative of you. I know that sometimes it looks like I'm siding with fuck shit that is said about you. But I'm not. I genuinely love you. If you ever took the time to read one of my books, you gotta know that that shit ain't coming from a place of fuckery. If you've ever read The Relationship Dismount, How to Stick the Landing When Exiting a Toxic Relationship, if you've ever taken my relationship masterclass, 5.5 hours, it's got homework in it. It's got printable homework in it. It's got a 25 book list. I've read thousands of books. If you've ever participated in what it is that I do, you'll know that I don't hate women. I had to learn to love women. I was disappointed in my mama because she couldn't do enough. And that's where the hate came from. I was disappointed in my mama because I felt like she failed me. But once I broke up with the expectations that I had for my mother, see, I had to realize that the expectations I had for my mother, she was incapable of providing. So it was wrong to put that fucking jacket on her. I had to realize I'm in relationship with my expectations of my mama. Once I break up with those motherfucking expectations of her, I can now see her as she is and approve of her wholeheartedly. This is who you are. I love you. My mother died in 2009, a few months before Michael Jackson. That was a hard year for me. I'm a Michael Jackson fan and I love my mama to death. But I felt so much love when she died because she wasn't in pain. I think I shed one tear. That's my mother's grandmother. That's my mother's mother right there. That's Nancy Bell. That's Big Mama's daughter. That's my mother. Right? When my mother passed in 2009, it was hard. It was hurtful. Because my mother has been broke her whole life. I was trying my best as an A&R person to get wealthy to start grinding, to get her in a crib so she can experience a beautiful life. But she died before I could do that. And that was one of the most heartbreaking times of my life. I felt like a failure because I couldn't provide something nice for her. Every time I see my aunties look just like them. I just saw my cousin's mother the other day. She looked just like my mother. There's my auntie, Marilyn. I'm sitting there staring at Marilyn. My auntie Marilyn is talking, and I ain't got shit to say. I'm just looking at her. I'm just staring at her because she looks exactly like my mother. And I love them so much. And a part of me feels like I haven't spent enough time with them. Right? Part of me feels like I haven't kicked it with them enough. I haven't. Then I lost my aunt Priscilla a month ago. She was the youngest child of my grandmother, Nancy. She was the youngest sister. She just passed. And the shit was hurtful because every time I saw Priscilla, we used to call her Pokey. Every time I saw her, she would say, when you're in Atlanta, come see me. I'm gonna try to get to Atlanta. I'm gonna try to come see you. I'm gonna try to come see you. Come on, baby. I need to see you now. I need to spend time with you. Boom, out of nowhere, Pokey gone. Pokey gone. My grandmother died before I was even born. This is my mother and her sister's grandmother. This is my mother's mother. That's Big Mama. You understand? That's my Big Mama right there. That's Nancy Bell's mama. That's Rosetta and Marilyn and Pokey's grandmother. I did nothing but cause her hell. I threw rocks at Big Mama. Big Mama tried to whoop me. I threw rocks at Big Mama. I kicked the deaf boy in the stomach on Big Mama's porch. Do you understand? I terrorized the kids in Big Mama's neighborhood. But I also helped Big Mama transition when she died in '98. I wrote about it in my first book, The Rebirth of Seeds, when I talked about a spiritual experience that I had. And the spiritual experience was, I just heard, it sounded like a voice, but there were no words, but it sounded like Big Mama. I was sitting in the bookstore that I owned on Fair Oaks. I had a bookstore. We had a motherfucking ATM machine, and we had a pager company, and we had an airbrushing company, and I'm sitting in the store that I owned. And something just said, call Big Mama. But the something sound like Big Mama. It sounded like Big Mama. So I got on the phone and I called Big Mama, and it rang like 50 times. This is before you had a goddamn answering machine, or she didn't have one. And she finally answered the phone. She sounded like herself. I said, Big Mama, you okay? She said, yeah, I'm fine, boy. What's going on? I said, something told me to call you. And when I called her, she said, something told me to call you. And she sounded good or whatever. And then finally, she asked me something that made me think something ain't right. She said, I need you to do me a favor. I need you to come down here and put a blanket on me. Now, mind you, after I threw rocks at Big Mama, after I fought with my cousins at her house, After I motherfucking kicked deaf people on her porch. After I talked reckless than a motherfucker, me and Big Mama was estranged for like 4-5 years. We were estranged. She told my mother that boy gonna die, he going to jail. This shit ain't gonna work. He on the wrong fucking path. When I got down to Big Mama's house, I knocked on the door. It took her an hour to get to the door. It took her an hour to get to the door. When she finally got to the door, she was covered in feces. Her hair was matted. She looked like a goddamn skeleton. She was on a walker. And I just broke down and started crying. I walk in, I pick her up. I didn't give a fuck about the shit that was all over her. I picked her up and I carried her to her bed. I laid her on her bed. And I called myself trying to clean up, but I couldn't, I couldn't clean up shit. So what I did was I called a friend who I now call a godmother. And her name was Cashapp. I said, Cashapp, I need you. I need you bad. I need you to come here right now. She said, where are you? I said, I'm at my great-grandmother's house, man. I need you to come down here. She said, well, what's wrong? I said, man, I can't explain it. I don't know what the fuck is wrong, but I need you to come down here and help me. Cashapp came down. She saw the situation. Cashapp is not blood, but Cashapp is thicker than most blood I know. Cashapp takes my grandmother, bathes her, washes her hair, combs her hair, cooks for her. She does it for 2 weeks until Big Mama dies. The second day that she did this, I came down to see Big Mama. And when I walked in, Big Mama said, who would have thought that the devil would be Big Mama's angel? See, you don't know me. You don't know where I'm from. You don't know who I am. I may sit next to people and talk to people, but you don't know me. You don't know what I've come through. You don't know the work I've invested in me to be different, to be better. See, I'm the nigga that's gonna tell you right now, off rip, I'm the problem in every relationship situation. It is me. I'm the problem. I'm the issue. I'm the common denominator. If the shit don't work, I've got to build fucking rapport with you. Y'all don't know me. Y'all don't know what I'm really about. Y'all don't, and you really don't know what I'm capable of. You really don't know what I'm capable of. Who would have thought that the devil would be Big Mama's angel? If you don't have moments of redemption, you're not doing self-work. If you don't have moments of redemption in your life, that is a sign that you're not doing self-work. I was redeemed in that moment. My grandmother shared every dirty secret I ever had with Cashapp. Do you understand? Who would have thought that the devil will be Big Mama's angel. No redemption, or let me say it another way. No healing, no redemption. No revealing, no redemption. If you're afraid to reveal the truth of who you are, there will be no redemption. I have to claim that I wasn't shit for many years. But I wasn't shit because I came from shit. What do you mean you came from shit? My mother was a good woman. What do you mean you came from shit? The circumstances, the toxicity, the abuse, right? Being ripped away from foster parents. That was the most healthy relationship I had, was with people that wasn't my family. You don't know me. You think you know me, but you don't. You don't know me. You think you know me, but you don't. You don't. And the reality of it is, I pour into being better, sharing my fucking process, because it helps me heal. Right? It helps me heal. It helps me stand up. It helps me reflect back to me like, oh shit, Zo, you still got work to do, brother. That's why I love interfacing with my people, but I'm going to tell you like this. You can only help the willing. You can only help the willing. You got motherfuckers out there talking about me like they know me, like we friends, right? Like we squad, like we teammates. Talking about how you talk about relationship and you not in one. You don't know my business. I know Hollywood. I don't tell my business. I don't bring my girl around. You understand? It's none of your business who my woman is. I'm not obligated to tell you who she is. She's part of my intimate life, not yours. It's motherfuckers out there talking. Zo don't have no car. You heard that from another man who knew me at a time when I didn't have a car. Nigga, it's 2021. Huh? It's 2021. Did you know that? Privacy is important to me. Stop being a hoe ass nigga, regurgitating shit you got from a third party about a nigga you wish you were like. Stop regurgitating the words of rabble-rousers, of niggas who want to keep up shit, of niggas who want to keep up disrespect, of niggas who want to keep up angst. Stop regurgitating shit you've never experienced your motherfucking self. Niggas don't know a part of me. Niggas don't know my friends. I wish some of y'all did so they could tell you, that's not the nigga to fuck with. Of all of us, he not the one to fuck with. You better get your blammer. You better get that, goddammit. You better. I'm not the one to play with. I'm not. Never have been. Do you understand? I'm just not. I've never been built that way. I love my people. I love y'all. I love the ability to come on here and talk to y'all. Like I said, I take full responsibility for any misconception that you may have about me. I take full responsibility. Friends, associates, colleagues, if you don't know who the fuck I am, I apologize to you. I wasn't clear. But I hope this is clear. I will work with you. I will ride with you. Even after you do fuck shit to me, I will ride with you. I will walk with you through your process if you allow me to. But I will no longer allow disrespect. I believe that the climate was established for the Aries Spears situation. He's watching the show as a fan like everybody else. The climate had already been established. The established climate was fuck with this light-skinned nigga because he takes it. He's Mikey. He can take it because he been taking it. Oh, I guess that's the nigga to fuck with. Goes back to how I set it up in the beginning about radio. Radio taught me to let the leader lead. That's not my show. Let the leader lead. Follow the leader's example. But if the leader cast you in the light of weakness, if the leader casts you in the light of some fugazi bullshit ass nigga, then the guests that come on that motherfucker will also see you in that light and think you're supposed to take what the leader has dished out. I'm no longer doing that. I'm no longer doing that. The reality is the responsibility for the Aries Spears situation is a three-pronged space. Three-pronged. It's a three-headed monster, a three-headed dragon. Chiefly, it's on me. I shouldn't have went at that brother, period. I should have got up, left. I should have walked away. I should have just got up and walked away. I didn't do it, and it was a spiritual demotion for me. I'm the leader of that three-headed monster. But when you create a climate that says you can disrespect this man, the guests may come on and say, so can I. Three-headed responsibility. And the chief responsibility is mine. The other responsibilities are ancillary and tertiary. But the primary responsibility is mine. The primary responsibility belongs to me. The buck stops with me. Yes, I'm intelligent, but that's not something to be envious of. Yes, I'm articulate, but that's not something to be envious of. Just because somebody is articulate doesn't mean that they are contextually intelligent. The higher the intelligence, the more nuance to the conversation. The less there are declaratives. This is a definitive fact. The less you hear that, The more intelligent you are, the more there is pliability and flexibility in your conversation. Wherever you hear rigidity and black and white thinking, you're listening to an idiot. Someone who is not well read, someone who lacks context. Let's talk about being broke. I've been broke my whole life, but I'm wealthy. I'm wealthy. My 2-year-old granddaughter is talking already. I'm wealthy. She calls me Grandpapa. Hi, Grandpapa. Hi, Boo Bear. I came in the house one day, and she was sitting on the couch. And as soon as I walked in, she said, shh, shh, shh. I said, hi, baby. She said, shh, shh, shh. Be quiet. Don't talk to me. Be quiet. I said, oh, you being snippy. You being bad. Okay. So I walk in the kitchen, and I pull out a popsicle. She hears the wrapper opening. And what she tells her daddy, she says to my son, she says, I'm being good. See, that was her catchword because I always play the popsicle game. You got to be good if you want a popsicle. You got to be good if you want a popsicle. So she hears the wrapper opening, and then she looks at her daddy and says, I'm being good. I'm being good. And I walk in with the popsicle. She says, Papa, can I have a popsicle? I said, you weren't being good. She said, yes, I am. I'm being good. Can I have a popsicle? I said, ask your father if you can have a popsicle. Daddy, can I have a popsicle? He said, yes. I said, but you got to be good. You can't talk to Papa like that. You can't talk to me like that. You got to be nice. You got to be good. She said, okay, I'll be good. I'll be good. Can I have a popsicle? I said, yes, ma'am. That's where my wealth comes from. I may not have the money, right? I ain't got no bread. I may not have the money, right? I may be broke, but I'm wealthy, right? My daughter has healthy boundaries because I've been with her entire life. I lost what I believe to be my twin flame relationship because I chose my children. And I chose my children in a disingenuous way. I was lying, but underneath I was afraid that I would be like my father if I chose the woman that I was with from 2005 to 2011. I was lying. I felt like, damn, you're going to be like your daddy if you choose this woman. I didn't understand that if I told the truth, I probably could have integrated the family. She probably would still be with me today. But it wasn't meant to be. So I poured into my children. So when I see my daughter and she has healthy boundaries, she never wants me to see her look ratchet or act hood. And she doesn't act hood. Do you understand? She doesn't act hood. She's a very integrous young woman, very intelligent. I see my success in her respect for me, what I think matters. Dad, are you going to show us how to feed our implements today? We need to know how to ask Eshu if he wants to be fed. We need, what should we do when praying to our Eshu, when praying to our Ifa pot, when praying to Ogun? How do we do this? How do we acknowledge our ancestors. Dad, what, do you understand what I'm saying? For me, that is success. They're growing in their spirituality and asking me for mentorship. That is success. Do you understand that? That is success. That is power. That is meaning. Things don't give you meaning. Do you understand? Things don't give you meaning. Stop trying to be right and get in alignment. Everybody is right because the truth is subjective. I don't know if you heard what I said. Everybody is right because the truth is subjective. Because your truth is born from your perspectives. How you were raised, where you were raised, your educational background. Do you understand? But alignment has to do with spirit. You're not aligned spiritually. So conflict is constantly your companion. Conflict is constantly your companion. Conflict is constantly feeding your fucking decisions. Fear, ego, guilt, shame. That's how you can't be shameful and a man. A man represents freedom. You got to be free from hurt. You got to be free from pain. You got to be free from all the bullshit that you think is an inner enemy. If you're not free from any of that, you cannot experience healthy masculinity, healthy manhood. Healthy manhood is wealth. Healthy manhood is wealth. You see beauty where the dominant society sees something that is ugly. The dominant society told us our sisters was ugly. The dominant society told us that their women were beautiful. The dominant society told us that our skin was ugly. The dominant society tells us that the lighter you are, the squarer your jaw is, the more square the asymmetrical face you have, you're somehow beautiful. And what happens is round, full, brown gets marginalized. How you living in one of the most racist and racially volatile times in our life and not see the underlining fucking poison of colorism in our community? Colorism. Poverty. Transactional relationships. Crabs in a barrel. Fear. Trust issues. Envy. Makes us all hoes to hurt. I'm not no hoe to hurt no more. I was a hoe. I was Hurt's hoe. But I'm not no more. I don't need to hurt nobody to feel like I'm somebody. I don't need to do that. In order for me to feel like I'm somebody, I want to help people. I want to lift people up. I want to coach people. I want to raise people up. I want to invest in people with my knowledge. I want to share with people the pitfalls that I've gone through, the fuck shit that I've been through, so it could serve as a lightweight template to keep you away from said fuckery. That is the purpose of what we're trying to do here. You can't love me if you don't love yourself. You can't appreciate me if you don't love yourself. You can't accept me if you don't accept yourself. You can't ride for me if you don't ride for the whole you. Hiding what needs to be worked on is not riding for yourself. I think I covered it. This ain't about nobody. I'm not talking to nobody in particular. You understand? My first niece just hit me up. I love you, baby girl. She said, great message on your show tonight. Thank you, honey. My first niece, my sister's daughter. I was there when she was conceived. Her father is an amazing, good brother. I know I'm telling the business right now, but I was there when she was conceived. I was asking my sister to make a motherfucking peanut butter and jelly sandwich, and I kind of broke in on what went down in the projects. And by the time we get to California, my sister's lump or belly is showing. And we got a niece. And our niece, Chandra, we loved her so much, and we still do. She has a beautiful family, beautiful children, beautiful husband. I love her husband, Seth. He's like a little brother to me, and I love him dearly. He shares the same birthday as my daughter. Y'all don't know me, but I want you to know me. I want you to understand who I really am, not what this platform makes you think I am. Like I said, I'm not talking about nobody. I'm saying Zoe Williams is responsible for every bullshit that happens, bullshit situation, circumstance that happens in his life. Nobody else is responsible. Nobody else is responsible. Every fucked up thing I go through is a reflection of what I haven't worked on. And I blame no one. I just have to claim my responsibility for it and continue to work. I am a work in progress. But I guarantee you, I've done enough work to help you, to at least give you a template. I have coached many couples. I have coached many single people through my coaching service. I have helped many people. There are people in the chat room right now that have read my books, that have said my books have helped them. I am not what you think I am, people. I am not what you think I am. But guess what I am? I am more than what you think I am. So with that said, I'm going to ask everybody. Can everybody hit the like button? Can everybody, can everybody send Sarah a super chat or Cashapp? Cashapp Sarah, please, because she's got to go to work. She's got to get out of here. She got to be at work at 7:30. So I want to get out of here. Sarah, put up your Cash App, $ Sundays with Sarah. Sarah's a good woman. She makes mistakes like everybody. But guess what? She's like many women that I've given opportunities to. Some women are appreciative. Some women talk shit. Some women expect me. Some women I brought on the show expected me to pay them when I wasn't getting paid. Some women felt like I owed them. But if I put you on an international platform just because I think you're weird and quirky, and then you come in with no motherfucking skin in the game, demanding that you get paid or demanding that I give you a show, I ain't never promised nobody a show, but I promised everybody an opportunity to maybe develop one. I've had many demo shows recorded for people whom I thought had the potential to do something, but I didn't owe them nothing. Motherfuckers up there talking about I did them wrong. How do I do you wrong when I say, here's my microphone, you can share it with me? Guy Black, that's another thing Guy Black taught me in radio. Guy Black said, never share your radio, never share your platform, never share your microphone. It's like sharing your power. I brought in a lot of people who did not respect what I was doing. They thought I owed them something. Well, I don't. I brought you on a motherfucking show that you didn't fucking do the grunt work to really get on. You just DM me and said, hey. I said, oh, this is a weird kind of person. Let me bring him on. Then I get turned into their villain. I'm done with being your devil. I'm never your devil. You your own devil. So I'm going to say this. Don't forget, go to Amazon.com. The relationship dismount is available in 3 formats, right? Kindle, Audible, as well as paperback. Order the relationship dismount. How to stick the landing when exiting a toxic relationship. Powerful book, 2015. Also order the the holographic relationship. It's on Kindle as well. But if you want the paperback version, you go to my website, IamZoWilliams.com. Also, and this is what I've been pushing really hard. You guys want to help me? You guys want to back me? You want to back my platform? Please go to, well, that's old. It's no longer $37 or $39. That's an old meme. But please go to ZoWhatMasterclass.com. Sign up for my masterclass. To me, that's 5.5 hours of my coaching. If you like what you got here, this show or that masterclass is intense like this. And like I said, there's printable homework, there's downloadable homework, there's a 25 book list. 25 book list in there. It's 25 books deep. Go to ZoWhatMasterclass.com. Go there right now. Please support it. Please support the brand. Please support the channel. Please subscribe. Please hit the bell, the like button. Do all of that for your brother. And listen, like I said, I'm going to say it again. I'm going to reiterate it. I'm not going at nobody. Y'all heard me say this shit on numerous occasions. I don't do public dissing and public beefs. I don't do that. What I want to do, is, like I said, is turn this into a teachable moment. Sometimes the most flawed human being is the one with the most insight because they've been through the most shit. I attract people who are flawed. And we can all be motherfucking teachers if we just embrace our flaws. You understand? I'm not talking to nobody. I'm talking about me. I'm going to end it by saying the enemy is me. I'm the problem. But you can learn from the problem that I am. Please do me that solid. ZoWhatMasterclass.com. Go there right now. ZoWhatMasterclass.com. Oh, also, you can sign up for my app. Download my app. It's available on the Apple phone and what's the other phone? Google Plus, Google whatever. It's on all of that. So I appreciate you guys. My app is Zoe Williams, no spaces. Just download it. I appreciate everybody for jumping in here and listening to me today. I love y'all. I love y'all. I'm thankful for you. I'm appreciative of you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. This has been Zolo.